Hey y'all, welcome back to Keeping Up with Kristy. I'm Kristy, and it's great to see you here. So on today's video, a couple of things. Number one, I am going to be doing a collab with a friend of mine on YouTube. She's over at Leanne's Life. I'm going to link her channel down in the description, and I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about her here in a second. Second thing is you want to stay all the way to the very end and see some delicious soup recipes I made this week. I was so excited for fall, feeling all the cozy fall vibes. It's early and I just messed that up in my mouth. But anyway, it was so nice just to like anticipate we're going to have a soup night. And then Neil went and bought a new fire pit for our porch. And we were just so excited. Of course, the day we ended up making it, it was like a high of 85 here in North Carolina where we live. So, yay. But fall time's coming. It's just right around the corner with cooler weather and we can't wait. So maybe on a cool night, you'll be inspired to make a couple of these soup recipes. So I have two for you. Also, I made my own bread bowls. It is the first time. I've made bread before. You've seen me on my channel. I've made it before. And I love to make bread, even before COVID hit and we had to. I just enjoy doing that. So if you want to try your hand at it, let me go ahead and tell you, it's easy. It's not hard to do, and I'm going to link the recipe for both the soups as well as the bread bowls down below in my description. Go check them out, follow the links. And I followed these recipes pretty much to the letter. Like, you know, I changed some stuff up. So I'll tell you along in the video what I did differently on the soups, but on those bread bowls, I followed it to the letter because when you bake, it's like the blessed Bible, like you got to follow the rules. So I did, and they actually came out beautifully and they tasted wonderful. So we were happy. All right, so follow along with me on this video. Please watch to the end. Make sure you go over and check out Leanne's channel and give her some wonderful love sent over from Keeping Up with Kristy. All right, here we go. So before we jump into my recipes, let me tell you a little bit more about my friend Leanne over at Leanne's Life. So she is a mama on YouTube who is just trying to bring us all a little inspiration. She does what's for dinner videos, grocery hauls, day in the life vlogs. So I know that you will enjoy watching her and getting to know her like I have. Her link to her YouTube channel will be down below in my description box. You can just follow that over to watch some videos of hers. And I just hope that you'll enjoy seeing that and give her a thumbs up, a big like, and leave a comment in her video description or in her comment section. Let her know that you came over from Keeping Up with Kristy, because I know you're going to enjoy getting to know her as I have. So let me go ahead and tell you what I got going on here. Now remember, the recipe will be in the description box. What I did was basically you throw it all into your mixer and let it go. If you don't have a KitchenAid mixer, you'd have to do the kneading by hand. But I'm able to use my KitchenAid and get that kneaded up. And when it pulls away from the bowl, I stick it into another grease bowl and let it sit. It says an hour and a half on the recipe. I did it for an hour and it had more than doubled. So then you just punch it down. And then I'm going to flour my countertop, throw it out there. And basically at this point, you just want to make sure the air bubbles are kind of gone. And then you're going to divide it up into 6. So I did it in half and then each half into thirds. This recipe says, and it's on My Baking Addiction, which I love to use, mybakingaddiction.com. She said it would make 6 bread bowls, 3 crusty loaves of bread, or 24 rolls. So I love that it's versatile and you can use it kind of in different ways. So for the bread bowls, you just divide it into 6, spray your bread pan. You're going to put 3 on one bread pan and 3 on another, because they're going to spread out a little bit more still. Then you make an egg and milk wash, 1 egg, about a tablespoon or so of milk, and stir that up. And of course I get mine all over the countertop because I always pick something that's, well, too small for what I need to mix into it. So that's okay, just clean as I go. So then you're gonna just mix that up, have that ready to brush over the top of the bread bowls. Then it said take a serrated knife and cut you an X. I don't know why, but that was like the most nerve-wracking thing about making the bread for me. And they only rise for like 20 minutes after you've punched them down and made them into their little balls on your bread pan, you're only leaving them for like 20 minutes. So that gives you time to kind of preheat the oven, 350 by the way, and then get your egg wash ready. And then you just cut your X's in the top, put that egg wash all over it, and then they're ready to go into the oven. And so this is what they came out looking like. I was so pleased. My house smelled delicious, wonderful. You don't have to light a candle on that day. They were nice and hard. That's what I'm showing you there. And so they really could stand up to, you know, having soup, which is what you need. So it was good. I hope you try it. Let me know in the comments down below if you decide that you're going to make that. My first soup that I'm going to show you is from the Old Mill, which is in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, and they have it on their website, so I'll link that down below. And it is their corn chowder. And we do not normally make corn chowder soups or potato chowder or clam chowder or anything like that. But my mom and dad went to Pigeon Forge a few weeks ago and they had it there in the restaurant and she loved it. Came home talking about it, and she actually made it first, and then I decided to make it on this night. So I'm actually utilizing my Instant Pot for this. The recipe just tells you how to cook it on your stove top, and that's fine. Do that if that's what you have. But if you have an Instant Pot, I decided to give it a go in there. So what I'm doing is I just have it on the saute setting on kind of the medium range one. I put the butter and the vegetables, which were onion and bell pepper, in there, and I had chopped those up through our food processor just to kind of make sure they're nice and small. Again, you could just chop them by hand if you want to. And then I add the flour. Now this is something different than the recipe says to do. The recipe says to put the flour in later, but my mom had done that the first time as the recipe read, and that didn't work. It left like flour clumps. And so I always find that it's better to mix your flour with your fat so that you don't have clumps. You need 8 ounces, 1 cup of clam juice, easy to find. Order it from Walmart, or if you do grocery pickup, or go find it there, but you can find it anywhere. And then it called for 4 cups of chicken broth, and we have homemade, usually always on hand, either in our fridge or our freezer. So that's what I threw in there. And then you want to season it at this point, salt and pepper. Both of the soups I ended up going back and putting in more salt, but you know, just kind of do it a little at a time. And then garlic powder and onion powder. And I think all of those seasonings, it just says in the recipe kind of just to do it to taste. So that's what I did. And like I say, if you have to go back and add salt, that's fine. Don't put too much in at the beginning in case you need, well, you know, you can't take it out. You can always add more, but you can't take it out. So then it called for 3 cups of diced potatoes, and I did a fairly small dice on that. And then I put it into the Instant Pot, made sure it was on sealing, and I set it to manual pressure for just 3 minutes. And I can move on now and go to my next pot of soup, which I'm gonna kind of tend to on the stove top, but I don't have to worry about this one. But I'll show you, there's a couple more ingredients that we'll come back and add to that. So the next one was, and I believe it's actually called Better Than Panera Bread broccoli and cheese soup. So it is their broccoli and cheese soup kind of copycat recipe, but the copycat they say is even better. And I don't know, I don't usually get that at Panera Bread, but I thought it was delicious. It calls for regular broccoli, like fresh broccoli, but I used frozen. I, of course, have my chicken stock homemade. You're gonna need cheese, onion, garlic, carrots, the butter, the flour. And then the seasonings were just salt, pepper, paprika, and cayenne pepper was optional, and I opted to use it because I thought that sounded delicious. Oh, and half and half. Gotta have half and half for actually both of these recipes. So that made it easy. Some of the ingredients just overlap into each soup. If you're wondering why we would be making 2 different types of soup on one night, that is because we have 6 adults who are eating, and some of them do not like any kind of a chowder with clam juice in it. They're not allergic, they just don't like it. And then we have some who don't eat broccoli and cheese soup. So I might spoil them a little bit, and I will make 2 pots of soup on any given soup night because, you know, I make sure everybody has something that they like. And it doesn't hurt to have soup left over in the refrigerator for a couple of days, because then you can eat off of it for lunches, and we don't mind leftovers. So in this pot for the broccoli and cheese soup, I've got my onions, my butter, my carrots and garlic, and again I'm putting my flour with my fat to make sure and cook those together so that I don't have any lumps in my soup later. I always find that is a pretty foolproof way of making sure your gravies and your soups don't have flour lumps. So then I add in my 2 cups of stock, and then I'm just going to kind of let that sit. I will stir it occasionally. Oh, and I think it'll also be time, to go ahead and grab my broccoli. So the frozen broccoli, we also put through the food processor. On this night, we wore that thing out. I did not do a whole lot of hand chopping except for that onion and celery right there. And I'm just showing you there that this doesn't have celery in it. That was onions and carrots. But y'all know what I'm saying. The broccoli, I left some kind of larger pieces and then some are really tiny. I just kind of like the mix of it. Then it's time to season it, and that was the salt, the pepper, paprika, kind of eyeball it, and a little cayenne pepper. And I do not shake my cayenne pepper over my pot. I think if you kind of went, oops, too much pepper or too much paprika, it's not a big deal. But in my household, if we oops too much cayenne, it's definitely going to be a big deal. So I make sure and shake that into my hand and then sprinkle it in. So then after that, broccoli and carrot is nice and tender and cooked through. Kind of at the end, you add in some 2 cups of half and half. And then just turn it down and put a lid on it. Let it hang out until you're ready to serve. And right before serving, we'll add the cheese. So then back over in my Instant Pot, I opened that up. And the potatoes are fully cooked now, nice and tender. And it's ready for its last 3 ingredients, which are 3/4 of a cup of cracker meal. So I just took those saltines and we blitzed them up in the food processor. I told you it got to work out. And you want to make sure and really stir those in good, because those cracker meal crumbs they will lump together too. So you just kind of get that working in there, and then add in 2 cups of half and half. And then your final ingredient is 2 cups of corn. You can use fresh corn, frozen corn, canned corn. I guess any of it would be fine. We did the frozen. So I think that's like a 12-ounce pack. I could be wrong on that, but it equaled exactly 2 cups when measured out, because Mama had measured it the last time she made it, so she was able to tell me that's exactly what I needed. So then I just switched my Instant Pot over to saute, and I just leave it on the lowest saute setting and let it kind of come up to a simmer, heat all that through good. Then later I'm going to put it on slow cook and just put the lid on top of it, and it's ready to serve whenever everybody gets home from work. So back at the broccoli and cheese soup, haven't put any cheese in it yet, so I got to do that. I think the recipe calls for 2 cups, and I just kind of eyeball that and just make sure I think I have enough in there. Stir that in, and that gets all nice and creamy and yummy. And again, I can leave that on low with the lid on it and be ready when everybody gets home. So the last step is, when everybody is about there, is take your bread bowl and just cut out the middle. So I take a serrated knife, and you want to carefully start going around in a circle. You don't want to go all the way through the bottom and pierce the bottom, because if you do, then your soup can leak out the bottom, and you like it to be an actual bowl that you can serve in. So I just went around with my serrated knife, and I have a cap, and then you want to put that on your plate along with your bread bowl. And then you take all the inside parts out. So you just put that on the side so they can have bread for dipping. Now, because that inside is nice and soft and just lovely and delicious. I could see myself making this for like a party, doing a soup party. Everybody brings pots of chili or crock pot of soup in or whatever. And I have bowls of bread sitting there ready. And they could, you can either prep them ahead of time, or if you wanted to let them do it themselves. But I'm just showing you the integrity of the bowl there. Everything is nice and neat and put together. So that's how we served up our soups that night. It was fun. It was just delicious, and everybody enjoyed it. And they all agreed I did a good job, and they thought that my bread bowls were better than any they had had out in restaurants. And that's sweet of them. So don't forget to go and check out Leanne's channel. Again, it'll be linked down below. And if you try any of these recipes, let me know. Come back and give me a comment. I love that when people come back and say, I made this and it turned out great, or hey, I made this and I might need some help. I have a question, whatever. Just leave me a comment down below. Make sure you go check out Leanne's channel and tell her hello. And thanks for watching. If you like this, please give me a like here on YouTube. That helps my channel. And don't forget to let other people know. Share it on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks.